Cam, I'm wondering, when is the most nervous you've ever been on a golf course in your life?
I think probably first Masters, first tee. That's the one that sticks out to me the most over the last few years.
What'd you learn about hitting a nervy opening tee shot from that?
Yeah, I mean, I think just everybody's got some nerves. You still have to hit it. So it's, for me, I think just a matter of going through the process leading up to it and, getting to the first tee and trying to make a swing that I've been making over the last few days.
Over here with Todd.
Cam, right here, bud, to your left. Hey.
What's up?
Hey. How significant in your maturation as a golfer was winning the New York Open here?
Yeah, it's certainly a step. I mean, I think the first professional event that I won. I won a Westchester Open as well up here. I don't remember which one came first, but yeah, I mean, it's obviously a championship golf course. This section is known for having a lot of great professionals, and yeah, in the midst of my college career, that was a nice step to take. Playing some good golf on a course like this is always kind of a nice notch to achieve.
What did you, if I can follow, what did it do for your confidence as you were speeding on the road to professional golf?
Yeah, I think it's just kind of another. It's just another piece of evidence, piece of the puzzle that you're doing the right things, you're working the right way, and moving toward your ultimate goal of playing out here and being successful on the PGA Tour and making these teams.
Let's go back over here, 6th and 5.
Hey, Cam, what have your sort of impressions of the Bethpage Black crowd been so far, and sort of your expectations for the rest of the week going forward with that?
Yeah, yesterday was the first day with fans on Tuesday, and it's about the most people I've ever seen out on a golf course. So there's already a lot of energy, a lot of noise out there. Tuesday, Wednesday, a lot of support for us. So, just what you'd expect from a New York crowd. I think they'll bring a lot to it come Friday. Just knowing the personality up here of the fans, I think they'll bring a lot to it. I think, we're hoping they're staying on our side, but I know that they'll let us have it too if we're not performing the way they want.
What is it about the personality of the New York fans that stands out?
It's just a very intense group of people. I feel, they love to win. They love their teams when they win, and I think that is what gets a group like this going.
Mike?
Over here.
Well, I'm just wondering what it's been like to be with the same practice group as Bryson.
It's been great, honestly. I've spent very little time with him up until this week. I'd spoken to him, here and there for a minute, but he's a smart guy. He's interesting to talk to. Obviously, loves golf and has thought about golf more than maybe anybody out here throughout his career. So I'm always picking his brain, asking him what he thinks about certain things, and it's been fun for me to kind of watch him work. He's obviously one of the best players in the world, and has had great success playing in big events. So it's fun for me to kind of see what he does and try to learn something from him.
Do you feel like you're seeing that he's going to make an impact with the crowd this week?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's a tremendously popular player, obviously a huge talent, big personality, and the people love him, and I think he's loved on our team as well. So it's fun to see him kind of in his element out there, getting the people going, and yeah, it's just fun to watch.
Thanks. Up here, Tom, 13.
Cam, over here, Cameron. That being said, what you said about the New York fans, the Europeans have virtual reality personal headsets that they've given out to the players. They can plug in their own personal insults and noise from fans with these virtual reality to get used to it. So number one, is there any way you can get used to this virtually? And number two, what would be the worst insult you could plug in from a New York fan if you had to do it?
Yeah, I don't know about the whole virtual reality thing. I think there's probably no substitute for being out there. Mm-hmm. Worst insult for us out here, I don't really know. Obviously, we're all gonna gonna work to play well, and hopefully we don't have to hear that side of it.
Okay, thanks.
Right here, 7.
Cameron, I was wondering who maybe you've leaned on, whether it's in the team room this week or outside of the team room as a Ryder Cup rookie, to kind of lean on what to expect come Friday morning and throughout the weekend.
Yeah, it's been a few different people. I mean, there's obviously some more experienced guys on the team, and then our assistant captains as well. But it's really kind of been a little bit from everybody. I mean, I've spoken to Keegan a lot. Just sat down and was eating lunch with Webb Simpson. I've played a good bit with Justin Thomas over the last few days. Spoke to his caddy, spoke to Ted Scott a little bit, just trying to pick up little things here and there. And, they've all got so much experience and so much wisdom from their times in these events. You just never know if you might hear something from any one of them that kind of resonates with you. And it's been nice to just hear some little different perspectives and pick up some things over the last few days.
Dylan, go ahead.
After spending a little time with Bryson, how likely are we to see a Cameron Young YouTube channel coming soon?
I think unlikely still. I don't know if my channel would compete with his, but he's. Speaking to him, I sat next to him on the bus the other day, and he was talking all about how much he loves that part of what he does, and I think it's really cool. I mean, he's found a way to reach a lot of people. He's a very positive person, so I think he's having a really, really nice impact on younger fans and some people new to golf. I think it's been great for the golfing public in general, and it's cool to see how much that means to him and how much he enjoys putting that together.
And what are your New York sports teams? Like, who are you a fan of, and what kind of a fan? Like, how deep in it are you?
I'd be a Giants fan, a Yankees fan, and a Rangers fan. I'm not the best sports fan in the world. I would love to be, but I've got little kids at home, and that kind of eats away at the sports watching in our house. So I'm not the most involved fan, but I'll be a New York fan, the rest of my life.
Sean?
Cam, is there something that you learned at that President's Cup you played in about team golf, about yourself? Did you learn something that week that you couldn't have known prior to one of these events?
Yeah, I mean, I think that first year for me was a lot of discovery in terms of just accepting that, I fit in out here golf-wise, and that I'm, meant to be here, and this is what I want to do, and, I'm qualified to be on these teams. And at that point, I'd been on tour for less than a year. It was 11 or 12 months before making that team that I was still watching the PGA Tour as a fan. I was playing on the Korn Ferry Tour, but, I don't think that many people on the Korn Ferry Tour are turning on Korn Ferry Tour golf. It's PGA Tour is where you want to be. And to me, I was watching all these guys as a fan. And you stick me 10, 11 months later in the team room, and I'm sitting there kind of, still a bit uncomfortable just because I don't know anybody really well. There's a few guys on the team that I had known from junior golf, but there had been a gap, 6, 7, 8 years where I hadn't really seen them much. So I was still getting my feet under me. And I think, now that I've been out here for longer, I'm much more comfortable. It's guys at this point that I play with at home. And now it's just overall way, way easier for me. I have a lot more belief, in my golf, and just personally a lot more comfortable than I would have been, that first year.
Doug, go ahead.
Cam, this is a very emotional event, obviously, and there's a number of players who don't play with a ton of emotion, present company included. But we've seen stuff from Duval, from DJ, from Cantlay. Can you think of anything that would cause you to lose your mind this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could happen, especially, at this venue in front of this crowd. There's nothing I would love more than to give myself an opportunity to see what I am capable of on that front. But, the real answer is I've got prep to do. We've been working this week, and, none of that matters unless I have an opportunity to do something that warrants that kind of emotional response. And that's more what I'm focused on than what's going to happen.
How do you feel about your game 2 days away?
I've been playing well. Obviously, I've had a really nice, last 3-4 months to get myself here. And this week, I've played a bunch of really nice golf. It's a golf course I'm super comfortable on, suits my eye in a lot of ways. I really like these greens. So I've been playing nicely, and I've seen no signs of it going the other way.
And sorry, but you guys came late last week as a team, or when did you first get back to the course?
I got here Sunday. I played Monday.
What was that like, and when had been the last time you were here?
I think that State Open was probably the last time I was here. So it's been a number of years, but it's one of those things. I mean, I feel like every year you get back to the same place, the time in between just goes away. And it's the same thing coming in here. I mean, walking out on the first tee, feels like I was here yesterday. So that first day is quiet. I mean, there's nobody out here. It's just, it's just kind of walking around, seeing what I remember, which is a lot of it. I mean, it's a place I remember, playing an MGA team event here, that New York State Open, high school event, and everything just feels so much the same. Obviously now there's some stands and there's some better players hanging around, but the golf itself just feels so much the same.
But your previous time here had been when? I might have missed that.
When? I think New York State Open. I think it would have
17.
been 17, yeah.
We'll wrap it up here with Adam.
Cameron, your father's a PGA pro, your mom's a distinguished player in her own right. What was it like telling them that you had made the team?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, my dad, all of you probably know, but he spends, I think I played 25 times this year. He was there 24 of those. So he's a huge part of what I do. And obviously my mom is not as involved in the golf now, but she's the one that was, the one taking me to the golf course and taking me to tournaments, as a junior golfer. So they're both deeply connected within the game, connected up here. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I'm trying to imagine if it were my kid, I mean, I would be probably more proud of them for making it here than myself playing here. So I think in their shoes, I know that they're having a great time being here this week. And for my dad, it's a lot of hard work on his end that's paid off too.
What's the lasting memory you have of that record round that you shot here?
I think that I had a putt for one less and I missed on 18. Yeah, it was just one of those days. I mean, there's a shot. I hit a shot on 12, and I don't know what it was to get to, but I think it was maybe a 6-iron kind of into the wind to a left pin on 12, and that was just kind of where I knew that day I just had control over what I was doing. I was just playing really well, and yeah, I just remember it being one of those days that I just felt like I knew where the ball was going to come down. I knew how it was going to bounce. And then, yeah, to give myself a chance to win outright, I think coming from, 5-6 back was pretty good, and unfortunate not to have done that, but, got it done in one extra hole.
How long have you had this event at this venue circled on the calendar? Like, I want to be on this. Since
it was announced, yeah. I think it would have been while I was in high school. So it's been quite some time, and at some point during the middle of this year, it seemed like a long shot, but we just kept ourselves oriented toward being here this week, and the golf started to change, and since then it's been really solid, and I feel like I really put myself in a place that I had an opportunity to earn my way here, and thankful to have done that late in the year.
Thanks for your time, Cam. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Collin Morikawa is with us now at the 2025 Ryder Cup. Collin, welcome to your third Ryder Cup. We'll go ahead and jump right into questions. Go ahead, Dan.
Collin, you said a couple weeks ago that sometimes these team events can almost like jolt you into being the player that you know you can be. Is that happening this week, and why do you think that is?
Yeah, I mean, look, so far this week, I've hit the ball actually probably better than I have. Statistically, I know my numbers, ball striking wise, look good, but it's a confidence thing. I think these weeks just pull out the best in you, especially when you have a home crowd like this and people are cheering you on and you want to just hit great shots. Sometimes your focus gets that much more intentional, and when intentions match kind of what you're trying to accomplish, you know, it sometimes comes together. So these weeks are a moment for that, and you want to step up to the plate, and you don't want to let not just the team down, but the rest of the country essentially that are rooting you on.
Does it almost feel like you're playing final round in contention the whole time?
Yeah, but very different vibes. You know, I think final round in contention, it's you against everyone else, and it's you really in your own head. I mean, you've got a partner, you've got other caddies, you've got vice captains, wives. Like you've got a lot of people supporting you, and then that always helps.
Up to Tom on 13.
Collin, earlier some of the Europeans were talking about how what happened at Whistling Straits drove them a little bit in Rome. What happened in Rome, has it played into your preparation? Does it give you a little bit more of a chip in your shoulder?
Absolutely. There was a sour taste leaving Rome. You know, I think that was my first team loss that I've ever had, ever since, you know, even amateur golf and junior golf. So it felt really weird. Like it wasn't an okay feeling. You know, yeah, we're all out there drinking, having fun on Sunday night, but it just didn't feel right. You know, we had a job and we had a goal to accomplish that week, and we just didn't pull through. We weren't hitting the shots, we weren't making the putts, and when you're on an away stage like that, you've got to step up a little bit more. So yeah, you know, for the past couple of years, I wouldn't say it's haunted me, but it definitely, you know, woke me up when I was, you know, on the verge of making this team, to making sure that I was going to give everything I could. You know, we've had 4 weeks essentially since I've been on this team, and a lot of time to really think about what I need to do and what I need to bring to this week.
Thank you.
Over to Alex on 12.
Yeah, Collin, there's been a lot made about the money thing, but I guess my question is more, do you know why you're being compensated?
No, I think Keegan and the PGA of America have fought in certain ways. I think just to, you know, whether it's a thank you or look, I think the PGA of America and then whoever's making a lot of money from the Ryder Cup, right, is they're making a lot of money. And I think on that end, it's just to give us an opportunity to either pay our respected teams, because look, the teams behind us, they don't get the recognition that we do, but they deserve a lot of it that we get. But also just to give back to our own communities, right? We have a lot of communities back home that sometimes don't get the recognition, that don't get, you know, the word of mouth, just because we don't travel to those places that the PGA Tour stops on every week. So just more opportunities, I think, for us to help out people that we care about.
And just to follow up on that, if you were actually being fairly compensated for the time that you put into this, is $200,000 anywhere close?
Don't trap me in a corner. There's no number. It could be zero. It could be $1. It could be there isn't a right or wrong amount. Look, I think at the end of the day, all 12 of us here playing when we teed up on Friday, and before this all started, we just want to win the Ryder Cup. We want to win it for ourselves. We want to win it for our country. When we stood out there 2 days ago and we got speeches from the Nassau Players Club and we got speeches from the firefighter and his son, I'm not an emotional guy, but there was emotions, and sometimes it just hits home. And when you hear that type of stuff and you're able to bring out that emotion, just being able to represent a country, you want to step on that first tee and put points on the board. That's all I'm going to ever remember. So hopefully we have a great 3 days coming this weekend.
Down here to 7.
Having been a part of so many team events now, I was wondering what still makes you nervous or anxious when you come into weeks like this?
I mean, there's a lot of buildup to these weeks. You know, I got here late Saturday night, just traveling from the West Coast, so it's a long week just until all the way until the first tee shot, right? But I would just say you want to be on, you know, and I know I haven't been exactly who I want to be, but I know my game can still go out there and help my teammates put points on the board, and that's what you want to do. You want to make those big moment shots and putts and momentum, because out here that matters, and then when you have a home crowd, it matters that much more to really use that for your advantage.
Over to Mike 6.
Hey, Collin, over here. What do you think will be different about the home crowd advantage that Bethpage Black and these fans provide as opposed to maybe some of the past Ryder Cup sites?
Yeah, I mean, Whistling, obviously there's still a little bit of COVID, so we had a very heavy home crowd, but it wasn't as big as what they say it's going to be out here. I'll be honest, I think it's kind of tame so far. Tuesday and Wednesday, I know tomorrow's going to be pretty bad, but I hope Friday is just absolute chaos. I'm all for it. I think it feeds into who we are and the American players and the American team. We want it. Like, we want to use that to our advantage. I think every sport uses their home crowd to their advantage. And just because we don't play in a setting like this doesn't mean the craziness of what New York and the rest of the country that people are traveling in from, that doesn't mean we can't use that to our advantage. I think we really have to tap into that. So I hope they come strong. I mean, watching all these little kids, I know they want autographs, but come Friday, I hope they go crazy.
Dylan on 2.
Yeah, you talked about the team events can be kind of a reset. I wonder if any part of that is playing some of these matches with such talented teammates, and if there are any teammates that kind of stick out as, you know, talking trash or pulling something out of you that you might not week in and week out, are giving you a hard time.
Well, it's actually been great. The vice captains we have are definitely trying to get into our wallets and in our heads. And that's like something you normally don't get. You know, I think a lot of us have played a lot of practice rounds, a lot of rounds together at home, not at home, wherever. So we kind of know the vibe. Like, that's the same. So we know who's the goofball, we know who's the serious guy. We're all ready to play matches. But it's the vice captains, I think, that are kind of putting us out there and like giving us a little bit of a nudge. You know, if you need that little nudge to say, hey, wake up, you know, even though it's a Wednesday, even though yesterday, you know, it was a Monday, Tuesday, like, these guys are pushing us in the right direction. And it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but they're able to read everyone on our team and say, hey, this guy needs a little bit of a pick-me-up and push you in a little poke. So I give a lot of credit to Keegan on his choices for the vice captains, because they've done a tremendous job so far to say, hey, like, let's go out there.
So the boundaries are a little bit different this week than any other week?
Yeah. I mean, the things we're saying and we're doing don't normally happen on a regular Tuesday.
Right over here, Mike 4.
Has it been nice to kind of, for the lack of a better term, veg out and focus on this event rather than competing week after week after week, especially the grind that you had over the last few tournaments?
Yeah. Like I said, there's a weird buildup, right? And, you know, we all went to go play Napa. Use that as, obviously, we wanted to play well and win a Napa, but use it as a buildup. But yeah, like, when you're practicing for something that's in 3-4 weeks versus every week, you're kind of resetting and saying, how do I need to prep for this event? What do I need to do at this golf course? You give yourself that time and that breath of fresh air some days where you're like, okay, let's go into tomorrow, reset, do that. And then once you show up here, it's full go. You know, you don't really want to be tweaking too much. You don't want to be trying to find too many things, because when you step on that first tee and you feel your hand shaking and it's hard to tee it up, your thought doesn't really go to like my swing thought that I had on Monday on the range. You know, you really have to figure out how to be able to balance those two and use that nervous energy into being able to step up and say, I'm going to hit this, you know, cut off the tree and find the fairway.
Doug, go ahead.
This tournament brings out a lot of emotion that sometimes you didn't know players have. Of the somewhat emotionless players you have on your team.
I thought you asked this 2 weeks ago.
I did not. Which one would you like to see lose it the most? Which would make you most curious to see what this event does for them?
Can you name the emotionless players on our team?
Cantlay, Cameron Young, Harris English.
We've seen emotion
Russell.
out of Cantlay here.
Yes, you did. All right, throw him out.
Okay. I would love to see Cam Young just throw a massive fist pump in someone's face. I would love it. I mean, home state, home crowd, red, white, and blue, played on the Junior Ryder Cup. He's a fiery competitor. I've known Cam for a long time. I mean, he's been very stoic, right? But we're deep competitors, and whether you see that or not through the TV or through, watching us play, he wants to whoop some butt, and yeah, I would love to see a nice little putter raise, undercut, fist pump.
Just a putter raise?
No, combined. A little. Maybe I don't know if he'll do it, but he didn't even smile after he won. So I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. That's my forecast.
We'll wrap things up over here with Sean.
Well, when you say your vice captains are trying to get in your wallet, what does that look like?
Like the amount?
No, like who is trying to get in your wallet? How are they trying to do so?
Sneds is definitely trying to get in our wallet. Kiz is talking smack.
He's just prop bets. Collin, hit this shot. Make this.
Yeah, a lot of prop bets. I've had a lot of fairway bets, birdie bets.
Are you in the red or the black so
far? Depends who. I'm up on Sneds, not by much. I think Xander's taking the cake this week. It's all right. I'm positive on Sneds. Sneds is the main one that I think we all love to pick on. And we love to have him as our bank.
He's become the mascot punching bag.
Correct.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it's wonderful for us.
Thanks for your time, Collin.
Thanks, everyone.